Assalamualaikum and hello everyone, especially to Dr. Fahana. I am Syuhaida binti HADZRAMI, and today I'm going to talk about issues students with aggressive behavior, especially in bullying, and how to manage effectively these students in the classroom. Let's get started. Before we go far, as a teacher, we need to know our student first. What we have to do is analyze type of student exists in the classroom. For example, as you can see, there are several types of students, such as student with aggressive behavior, student with learning disabilities, high and low achiever student who like to procrastinate, student that have mental health issue, such as high anxiety and depression, low self-esteem and emotionally unmotivated student, and the last one is the student with destructive behavior. But today we will be focusing on the issue student with aggressive behavior and how to manage them in the classroom. Okay, now let me introduce you what is aggressive behavior. For your information, aggressive behavior can be classified into 4 types, which is physically, verbally, psychological arousal, and cognitive aspect of the individual's tendency to defend their right and strive for success. Here are the most common examples of aggressive behavior, such as bullying among peers at school. But what is the real meaning of bullying? Bullying is defined as verbal or physical behavior intended to disturb someone that less powerful. Indirect, it makes the victim feel weak and force them to respect the bullies. In other words, bullying is one of aggressive behavior which can either physical or psychological, do repeatedly with the victim in order to make them feel uncomfortable, insecure, and isolated from them. Bullying is also categorized into 2 types, which is the first one is indirect and the second one is indirect. What does it mean? Direct bullying involves physical contact that cause injury to the victim. For example, kicking, threatening, slapping, pulling, pushing, or pitching. This is we call as physical bullying. The most violent form bullying may cause death. Next, we go to the indirect bullying, which is insulting and teasing the victim in psychological and emotional ways. This is known as mental bullying. For students, if the student names and their father names is quite unusual, then other students might tease them for it. This is so serious if we look at the number of cases of bullying increases year by year. According to the statistic released by the country Ministry of Education in 2015, there have been 3,011 cases being reported for school bullying in the country. In fact, in 2016, the Ministry of Education issued a statement that showing there were more than 14,000 cases of bullying in school nationwide between 2012 and 2015, which most of them involve physical bullying. Other than that, in 2021, a study found that 79.1% of 4,469 Malaysian public schools were involved in bullying. Now I'm going to show you the observation that have been made at school about issue on bullying in 2017. As you can see here, this bar chart shows several hotspots where the victim has been bullied among students aged 12 to 18. It is proven that teachers should manage efficiently the classroom, as we can see that classroom is the second most victim had experienced bullying, which is about 42.2% after the hallway and stairwell. Another hotspot that we can acknowledge are cafeteria, school, outside school ground, bathroom, locker room, and school bus. The second one is observation have been made to evaluate what type of bullying occurred among students aged 12 to 18 in 2017. As we look at this bar chart, it shows that the most types of bullying among students happen is the subjects of rumors, which is about 13.4%, while the second one is the victim had become made fun of, called named and insulted, which is about 13%. Another issue such as push, trip, excludes from activities on purpose, threatened with harm, pressure to do things they didn't want to, and property destroyed on purpose. Now, as teacher, we have to consider about what major factors that influence psychological students that make them involved in bullying activities. Humanistic theory also emphasizes the development of behavior through external influence such as peers, family, and the environment, which is the individual's ability to choose how to behave. The first one is school. Do you know that school is the place where the student behavior is influenced, and in fact the characteristic of school may impact the way the student behave with others? There are several school environments that encourage students to become misbehave and aggressive, such as overcrowded classroom, too much harsh discipline measures, absence of teaching of social, lack of effective communication and interpersonal skill, lack of student voice and choice in their learning, and the last one is the absence of academic support for students with academic and behavior problems. Besides, the educators is also part of this factor. For instance, students may act out of their normal behavior when the teachers make ineffective use of innovative pedagogies, show little interest in students, does not provide academic feedback and guidance, does not communicate effectively, use punitive and or reactive measures, and the last one, teaches irrelevant curriculum. Secondly is parent itself. Some characteristics of parents can give adverse impacts toward the student behavior at school. For example, children neglect and abused by parents, exposure the child to parental criminal activities or act of violence, the use of dangerous weapons and drugs at home, and the last one is divorced parents. As we know, secondary high school students in the phase of adolescence, which is considered as storm and stress period. There are two main categories of parenting style that may affect aggressive behavior in their children, which is the first one is authoritarian parenting, which are restrictive and punitive. They want the children to follow their direction and respect them. They place firm limits and control on their children, as well as allow little verbal exchange. The second one is neglectful parenting, which is the parents are uninvolved in their children's life. Neglectful parents develop the perspective that other aspects of their life are more important than their children. The third one is peer pressure. Based on social learning theory, the adolescent high chance learn to display socially unacceptable behavior when they interact with other people. Besides, students take up their peers at school as their role models, as their parents are no more considered as role models to them. With peer pressure, students may risk in taking drugs and alcohol, bullying other students, involved in illegal gang activities, and in antisocial behavior. In some cases, the effect of watching violence film influencing bullying behavior. This is supported by the Bandura in social learning theory, which states that learning through observation. Children who often watch violent film will be affected by such violence. Let's go further into the effect of bullying towards the students that are being bullied. As you can see in this bar chart, there is a huge negative effects to the victim. The first one is how they feel about themselves, which is about 26.8%. Another consequences from bullying also impact their motivation in completing the schoolwork and to build relationship people around them, which is about 19.4%. In addition, relationship with family and friends also getting worse and adversely impacted physical health of those victims. Victims of bullying have higher risk of experiencing various psychological problems such as social and emotional disturbance. Victims of bullying fear being in school or classroom because they often become the targets of bullying. A victim to bully in the short term may feel sad, depressed, remorse, anxious, could even potentially develop excessive stress, feel helpless, have a significant drop in school performance, especially in their academic performance, or more even in the worst case scenario, could potentially lead to suicide. If the bullying act continued to happen in the long term, the victim may feel insecure, begin to develop lack of trust to other people, exhibit extreme sensitivity, or in more serious case, start to develop a mental illnesses such as psychopathy, avoidant personality disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorder. The effect of bullying is not limited to victims themselves. It could affect other people who seen the act. Such people we can refer to as a bystander. This includes the victim's classmates, friends, peers, and others. According to a study, being a bystander can produce similar feelings of anger, fear, guilt, and sadness like the victims themselves. While most bullies in the long term grow to be emotionally functional adults, according to study, most of them has increased risk of developing antisocial personality disorder, which sometimes being linked with increased risk of committing criminal acts. After we have known what is bullying is all about, current statistics, major influence, and impacts of bullying, now we have to identify on how the teachers can manage in reducing and preventing students from involving bullying in the classroom. As teacher, it is important to have effective management strategy when dealing with students with this aggressive behavior. The first one is teacher should observe carefully any probability of bullying may occur in the classroom or area around the class. The teacher will need to make a decision about whether it is serious enough to report to the school authorities or parents. If you observe a student repetitively involved in bullying, take immediate action by setting up a conference with the bullier's parents and ask for their help to stop in bullying. Second one is the teacher can give awareness and talk more about negative impact on bullying in the classroom. Let the student know victims who are getting bullied can badly impact on their physical, emotional, and psychological. As teacher, we have to make sure that all students understand that bullying is not something that we can tolerate, and action will be taken to the student who likely to bully others. Next is teacher-facilitated discussion. Might be an effective way for the whole class to discuss on bullying prevention collaboratively. In the discussion, all students might raise awareness on the serious consequences of bullying and emphasize crucial role of bystander. They might lead to higher moral responsibility in the classroom and lower social acceptability of bullying behavior, which in turn increase the likelihood of being a defender. Other than that, as teachers that in charge in the classroom, we have to practice active listening with our students in the classroom. According to the Dr. Kirstenstein, one of the most important practice that teacher can do to reduce and prevent bullying is to actively listen to the student. Dr. Stein states that teachers who keep an open mind while actively listening to the student begin to promote a classroom environment that fosters acceptance and kindness between the students, which can minimize the chances for bullying situation. This is because listening is a critical skill for creating and develop positive relationship. Besides, it is efficient to empower student bystanders among the students from that classroom. As teacher, you can make an effort to give your class observer more authority. Encourage them to speak out against bullying or inform you or inform another adult about it. Remind them that if someone who always stands against bullying, it may stop the bullying. Finally, offer secure and private channels for them to report bullying events. Last but not least is to speak privately with the victim. Develop an atmosphere where the student feel comfortable approaching you for assistance. Offer suggestions for stopping bullying and demonstrate empathy with what they are experiencing with. Establish a commitment to assist the victim in resolving the situation. Try not to approach the victim in the presence of the bulliers. When the bulliers is there, the victim is unlikely to be honest about what have been occurred. There are several challenges need to face by teachers to deal in situation of bullying. The first one is to identify the bullying behavior. Most of teachers states that it was challenging to recognize bullying behavior. In some cases, this was caused by student reluctance to report bullying. However, the majority of the cases, bullying took place in the place where it is possible for the instructor to observe, including the hallway, during physical education, or even after school care. Other than that, it is challenging for the teachers to evaluate the seriousness of the bullying incidents. Teachers reported 4 factors complicated in estimating the seriousness of bullying incident, which is the first one is the student over-reporting victimization. Second one, receiving conflicting explanation, perpetrators' denials of bullying, and difficulties in determining whether the situation can be defined as bullying or not, particularly in situations where the teacher had not witnessed in the bullying incident themselves. The struggle to determine whether the students were not over-reporting bullying or possibly as a result of misbehaving teasing behavior. The last one is to find solution with the parents. The teacher experienced difficulties in agreeing on solution to reduce existing cases of bullying with parents. They also mentions that parent disagreement with teacher intervention and parents' denial on their child's roles in bullying situation as complicating factors. Teacher indicate that these parents were often angry with them. As a result, no mature agreement on teacher intervention could be reached. Teachers further indicate that parents did not believe when the teachers said that their children was bullying other children. The difficulty for the teachers was that parents do not take them seriously when they raise this issue, and that parents themselves are sometimes part of the problems. And the teachers find this issue difficult to discuss with the parents. We have already arrived at the last part, which is the useful tips on how to be more well prepared as a teacher to manage students with aggressive behavior in classroom. The first one is to set clear expectation and consequences. Make sure that the student know what is expected from them in terms of behavior and what the consequences if they do not meet those expectations. These consequences should be clear, consistent, and fair. The second one is you need to be calm and assertive. When dealing with an aggressive student, it is important to stay calm and assertive. This will help to de-escalate the situation and prevent it from getting worse. Last but not least, you have to take care of yourself. It is important to take care of yourself both physically and mentally. When you have a feeling well, you will be better able to manage difficult situations that happen in the classroom.
In conclusion, manage students with aggressive behavior in the classroom can be challenging, but it is essential for creating a safe and productive learning environment for all students. Teachers can learn how to identify the root causes of aggressive behavior, develop effective interventions, and create a positive classroom climate. If the teachers are able to identify the underlying problems of this kind of student, you can help students learn how to manage their emotions in a healthy way and develop a positive social interaction. By taking a calm, firm, and consistent approaches, teachers can help the student learn to manage their behavior and succeed in the school.
That's all from me. Thank you for watching. Bye!